I don't know about you guys, but the Brooklyn Nets just frustrate the living tar out of me. Kyrie Irving, I mean, we know he's one of the biggest divas in all of the NBA. Ben Simmons, not far behind. And they're just so frustrating because those two guys, Kyrie and Kevin Durant, carry hard. And they did in this one. And they beat the Toronto Raptors 109-105. I got all the respect for Durant. Kyrie and Ben, not even a sliver. Raptors are now 1-1 now on the season. Pascal drops a triple-double. An incredible one, 37, 13, and 11. But the Raptors fall. And you know what? It wasn't a very pretty basketball game. And people be like, what are you talking about? You only lost by 4 on the road. What categories do the Raptors usually dominate? And I'm not just saying win, dominate in. Well, they won the glass usually, turnovers, all that stuff, right? They were -2 in the glass against a team in Brooklyn who, like let's be honest, you dominated the glass against Cleveland. You won the glass in Cleveland against a team with a lot of bigs. You were -2 on the boards. You were -5 in the offensive boards. You were -1 in turnovers. Raptors had 14 turnovers to their 13. And you were -4 in second chance points off of those offensive boards, right? You know what I mean? It's just, you're getting beat at your own game. Now, credit the Raptors, you didn't play very well in that sense, and you still only lost by 4 on the road against Kyrie and Kevin Durant. So you got to look at maybe a positive in that sense. But let's break down the basketball game. First quarter, look, this game was full of runs. And it seemed to be the entire game. They were up by 4, 28-24 at the end of the first quarter. Raptors put together a really nice second quarter. They win it by 6, 28-21. And they are up by 2 at the break. All right, but you got the lead, but it's really minuscule. So you just got to find a way to come out strong in the third quarter. And for the most part, the Raptors they build that lead up to 10. You know, and they're buzzing, right? They're causing turnovers, playing really good defense, turning them over. It was looking really nice in that third quarter. And then Kevin Durant leaves the game. And for me, this was the turning point. He leaves the basketball game. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the time right now that you bury the Brooklyn Nets. With no Kevin Durant on the floor, you know the ball's going to be run through Kyrie. And you know there's going to be some guys obviously implemented in the offense. But again, your focal point is Kyrie Irving. And they dominate the Raptors without Kevin Durant on the floor. Now Nick Nurse decides to take off Scotty, take off Fred, take off OG all at once pretty much. And it was awful. It was really bad. They had a 10-point lead, which means they were up. They were like +6 in the quarter. They're feeling pretty good late in the third quarter. And then turnovers, missed shots. They forget what the shot clock is, and they get the violations. Bad switches on defense, leaving wide open threes. And just like that, the Brooklyn Nets win the quarter 29-27, and we are tied going into the fourth. And to start the fourth quarter, you start the fourth with 3 turnovers in the first few minutes. And at one point, you're down by 12. It was a really sloppy end of the third quarter in first 5 or 6 minutes into that fourth. It was a really sloppy one. Lots of turnovers, lots of missed shots, not very good defense, and obviously Kyrie just taking over. And that was a problem I had during the game, right? Not only was Durant out for that portion, you had a chance to bury them. You had the lead by, I want to say it was 8 or 9 early in the game, right? And Durant was 0 for. He was 0 for 5 from the field. And you're like, what the hell's going on here? That won't last. Kyrie was missing shots early on. That won't last. Again, you have to bury them when those things are happening. They did not. They ended up making runs to get them back into the basketball game. And then down the stretch, late in the game, when they needed buckets, who'd they turn to, right? And to start that fourth quarter, I believe, or was it the second half? Either way, it was the first 15 points of I think it was the fourth quarter were scored by Kyrie and Kevin Durant. They took over in the fourth. And yes, the Raptors did come back to tie the game, but again, you shouldn't have been in that situation, right? If you didn't play as sloppy in that latter frame. Credits Raptors, though, for coming back from a 12-point deficit with 6 minutes to go on the road against those guys and tying the basketball game. Unfortunately, some costly mistakes, right? Pascal pushing off, right? They get the offensive foul, and then I think it was Royce O'Neal gets the game-winning three basically to put obviously the lead up from 1-4, which really put the game away at that point with like 15 seconds left in the fourth. And you lose the quarter 31-26, and you fall. We talked about it in the last video, guys, right? It's not who makes the biggest run. And the Raptors probably had one of the bigger runs in the basketball game. But it's who makes the timely punch. And they did. And it is what it is. The Raptors bench was non-existent. And we'll talk about that in a second. There were a lot of sloppy things that happened today, right? We talked about all those the rebounding and the turnovers were not in favor of the Raptors, which they so often are in favor of the Raps, and it wasn't today. But there are a couple positives you want to take away from today's basketball game. Pascal Siakam continues to be incredible. He had a double-double in the last game. It was something 20 and 10. Obviously it's 20-something and 10-something. Or I think it was like 23 and 11 or something like that in game one. 37 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. Pascal was on fire. Shot 15 of 20 from the field. But the consensus in the first couple of games, the only thing he's really struggled with is free throw shooting. He was 4 of 8 in game one, missed 4 free throws. And what did he miss in today's game? He was 5 of 9. He missed 4 free throws. Those are tough. He was 2 of 6 from distance as well. But missing those free throws really come back to hurt you, especially when you only lose by 4. And the Raptors did miss 6 total in this basketball game. Scotty Barnes, I thought he was good at times. Again, when he's aggressive and getting in the paint, good things happen. But when he's trying to out-dribble a guy and shoot a mid-range jumper, it's not really his game, mano-a-mano. At least not yet. But he did have 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists on 7 of 14 shooting. Was 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Was 1 of 2 from distance. So there are a lot of great stuff. And 2 steals and a block from Scotty. So a lot of good stuff going on there. I'm not complaining at all about his game. I thought he was pretty good. But again, I'd like to see him when he's got a mismatch, because I think it was one time he had Kyrie on him, right? And he's just dribble, try and fake him, and then take a jump shot. And I'm like, that's not what you want to do. Right, you want to get in the paint, pound the paint with that guy, bring in help defender, find the open man, and drill a 3 or drill something, right? Get an open look, right? Obviously, that didn't happen on some possessions, but then Scotty does do that, and you're like, see, he can do it. So, again, it is what it is. 17, 6, and 3, not going to complain about Scotty. Gary Trent, 14 points and a rebound, shot 6 of 16, was 2 of 7 from 3. I thought it was a very frustrating game to watch for Gary Trent. A lot of turnovers, again, a lot of just ISO balls, step back threes, and I'm just like, look, you can knock some of those down when you're hot, but man, those are tough to watch, especially when he's, I think there was a couple in this game where it was an air ball as well, and I'm like, man, Gary, that is ugly, my dude. Again, did drill some big shots, but really tough night for Gary Trent offensively for me. 14 points, though, still not bad. Percentages were really low, though. OG Anunoby didn't really impose his will offensively today, and when he did, he looked all over the place at times. 10 points, 4 boards, 1 assist, 3 of 9 shooting, was 2 of 2 from the line, 2 of 4 from distance. So those 2 numbers are great, perfect from the line. 2 of 4 from 3, had a steal and a block, good stuff there. But the 3 of 9, he took 9 shots. You know what I mean? 9 shots for OG. I don't really know where he's going with that. And Gary Trent taking 16. It's quite ugly. Fred VanVleet, you clearly needed some offense from him because the other guys were struggling, and he really stepped it up there in the second half. 18 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists on 7 of 11 shooting. Was 4 of 6 from 3. Had 4 steals and a block. I believe he had 4 steals in game 1 as well. So Fred VanVleet doing a lot of great things for this team. But as I mentioned off the top, the bench was awful. They had a combined 9 points. Patty Mills outscored the Raptors bench combined. Precious in the first couple of games has not looked very good. He was not good for the first 3 quarters against Cleveland, was better in the fourth, but today in the minimal minutes that he played, wasn't very good. Shot selection wasn't good, didn't look comfortable taking shots. I don't know what it was about Precious, but he didn't look very good. Koloko got in foul trouble. He had 4 fouls in the game. Again, I like the size with Koloko, but this is where you miss guys like Otto Porter and Chris Boucher, 2 veteran guys that are going to come off the bench. Boucher, we all know last year, learned his role and knew what it took to make an impact in the situation he was. I think he would have been an integral part to this ball game today. And obviously Otto Porter brings that 3-point shooting. And, Raptors still shot 39% from 3 today, but he still adds that aspect off the bench, right? And you didn't have that today. And hey, it is what it is, right? Team stats, Raptors shot 49% from the field and 39% from three. I mean, you can't complain about those two numbers. They were very good. But again, usually the Raptors have more opportunities because of the rebounding battles they usually win and causing havoc on the turnovers, right? Usually they have more opportunities. But in this case, Brooklyn had more opportunities, and they only shot 48% from the field and 37% from three. So both numbers worse than the Raptors, albeit they were at the free throw line a lot more. I think they had like 29 attempts at the Raptors 18. But again, I'm not complaining about that. You got to make your freebies when you're there. Raptors were 12 of 18 from the free throw line. You missed 6 of them. You missed a third of your free throws. Just can't happen. They were 69% from the free throw line, so not much better. But again, when you have the volume of free throws that they did, you're going to have a lot more makes. Now, we got to move on from this because, again, it's game 2 of the season. Like I'm sitting here talking about how this guy wasn't great. I'm just analyzing what I saw during the game. We move on. And the Raptors play a back-to-back, but not they play a back-to-back technically tomorrow against the Miami Heat in Miami, but then they play Miami again on Monday in Miami. So it's going to be really weird next couple of games for the Raptors, but the Miami Heat now 0-2 on the season, albeit they've played some pretty good teams. I think they played Boston tonight, and can't remember who they played in game 1. But no matter what, 8 p.m. tip-off tomorrow as the Raptors look to bounce back. Miami's playing tonight as well, so there's really no excuse, albeit they don't have to travel, but come on, if we're going to be that nitpicky, whatever. You know, they got to find a way to bounce back tomorrow. They need that extra scoring. They need that extra guy to step it up, right? You want to make somebody else to impose their will, and for God's sakes, you want that bench to give you something. That does not mean you force Boucher and Otto Porter to get back in the lineup because it's game 2 and game 3 of the year. As I've said during baseball season and whatnot, and even hockey season, you don't force a guy to come back this early in the season. You're not playing to win in October. You're playing to win in May and June when it matters the most. So these guys aren't 100% healthy for game 3 of the season tomorrow. They don't play. And if we lose, tough snot. Really doesn't matter. All right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and parts of the basketball game today, I'll give you that much. All right? Smack the like button. Do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys not already. Comment down below. Thoughts on the video, thoughts on the game. What'd you like? What'd you not like from today's game for the Toronto Raptors? The Twitter link is down below, so follow up, send me a DM to that great stuff. The Instagram link is also down below, so follow up there if you guys have not done so already. And I will talk to you guys Leafs edition tomorrow night as they are in Winnipeg taking on the Jets, 7 o'clock puck drop there in Hockey Night in Canada. And as for the Toronto Raptors, they're back in action tomorrow. Again, both videos will probably be later. I'm going out tomorrow night having a good time, so I'll be a little bit later than usual, but we will be talking Leafs and Raptors tomorrow night. Raptors in Miami taking on the Heat, 8 p.m. tip-off tomorrow against Kyle Lowry and the Miami Heat. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And like I mentioned earlier, parts of the basketball game today. We'll talk to you guys then.